Hello and welcome to another random review and how-to. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace out the heat sensor in the back of your freezer. So this is a Kenmore Elite freezer. It's actually made by LG. So when you're kind of doing research on what's going to happen, I've been getting an error here that says ERDH and it's spaced out. And this entire area does not work when that error's up. The easy way to do this, a quick fix, while you're waiting on parts or maybe finding time to do this, is just unplug your refrigerator and plug it back in. The only issue is that lasts somewhere usually less than 24 hours, and then that error is going to come back and nothing here is going to work. So I went to the appliance parts store. I'm actually going to put a link to this. This cost about $15 to $20. I think I paid $15.99 for this. And this is the replacement sensor. So where this goes is actually down in the bottom of the freezer. So if your freezer is like mine, it is completely full. So the key here is going to be actually to take everything off here. So I have to take this door off. I have to take out all the drawers. There's a bar that goes along the back there I'm going to have to take off. So I'm actually going to do that part now, and I'm not going to show that in this video, but I will show once I get back there. There's a control panel all the way in the back that we're going to pull off, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we're going to replace this heat sensor. So basically what this thing does is it sits in the coiling system behind your freezer, and it is supposed to detect a 46-degree increase in heat in less than an hour. And when that's not happening, then it's starting to generate that error because the coils aren't heating up and it's not defrosting the back coils. So then you're going to get ice buildup, and then what will actually eventually happen is inside of your fridge it'll start to warm because it's either frozen out or it's just not working properly. So we actually haven't had that problem yet, but that seems to be online. What I'm reading is it will lead to that. So the sooner you can get this replaced and fixed, the better. So you can call a technician to come out and do that for you, or you could be like me and try to do it yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and unpack everything here and I'll be back. On this particular door assembly, what you're going to want to do to get the actual door part off here is locate right here. There's a screw, a little white one, already unscrewed. You're going to pull that one screw off on both sides, and then you're going to see inside here, behind this assembly, there's actually a little notch here that goes into the bottom and the base. So once you get both screws out on each side, you're going to just come over and just pull the door up, then you're going to feel it let loose there. So now the door has come out, as you can see there. So you just be able to lift the door right up and pull it right off. So now that we got the door off, we got the drawers out, we can see the back assembly here. You're going to see there's a little box here that we might not have access to in this model, but for some of you, that'll be able to pop off, and then you can actually reach behind there and pull this out. But the first key is going to be, I wanted to kind of avoid this. I just don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm going to have to actually take these door parts off here. There's 3 screws here. It looks like there might be 2 to 3 up top. I think there's one back there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. It's on both sides. So I'm going to do both sides there, and then that's going to give us access here to pull off this entire back panel. Now, when you get to this part, you could probably keep it plugged in, give you some light while you're working in here for this. But as soon as we get ready to pull that back face off, you're going to make sure you unplug everything there, so you don't want to get shocked while you're doing any of this. Everything's unplugged now, so my only next step is to go ahead and pull this off. So if you kind of reach up here, like I said, most of you might have an access panel here that you can get into. This one is not cut out, so it's not there. So what I can do is actually put my fingers up here and start to pull this out. You can see it starts to give way. So what I'm going to do is just kind of make sure I could get both my hands in there and pull this whole piece off. So now I have my assembly pulled off, and one of the immediate things I could see is how much ice has built up back there. So obviously unplugging and plugging in to reset that isn't the smartest thing to do. So what you're going to want to make sure you do here is at least unplug these, because these are actually attached to this piece here. And there's one over here, it's a blue one. This needs to come unplugged. We're going to eventually be unplugging this and replacing that, but there's going to be some defrosting here that takes place. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, but let's make sure we unplug everything. Again, our refrigerator is already unplugged and off. We have all this ice buildup, so we're going to go ahead and let that defrost a little bit. That way we can work with everything back there. Here is the entire assembly off, just to give you a view. That is all iced and built up. part we're getting to is all behind here. So you can see there, that's actually the piece we're going to be replacing. Baby's crying, so it's a perfect time to go get him and let this defrost. One thing I'm doing here to help with this defrosting is I grabbed that little ceramic heater. I threw that in that corner. You can see it's already significantly melting everything out, but I'm trying to make sure I don't just heat it up too quick. I don't want anything to break there, so it's kind of pulled back a little bit there. Just blowing heat on the low setting, and it's melting everything. I've been sitting there for about 10 minutes now, and it's only done that much. So another key thing here when we're working back here is we want to make sure we don't damage any of these coils, because we poke a hole and we got Freon coming through. That's a whole nother issue we're going to have, and you're going to definitely have to call somebody out for that one. So this is just helping me defrost everything I got going on in here with all this ice buildup. I'm going to want to make sure that before I put anything back together, I get all of this ice out here defrosted and just let it sit. And that honestly could be some of the issue here. Well, it's definitely the issue, but it could be some of the issue too. I'm not even sure that maybe that sensor's broken, but because for 15 bucks I got a brand new one, I'm just going to go ahead and swap that out as well. The next part of this assembly you're going to want to look at, now that I got most of it frozen back, as you can see there's these clips here. So we're going to go ahead and clip those two. There's another one up here. So you're going to want to clip those, but also make a note of where all of them at. You can see the placement of the bottom half here in those coils. So we want to make sure that when we take everything out here, that we replace everything right where it was and put everything back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything out. I'm going to plug it up top, and then we'll pull this whole thing out and we'll put the new piece in. So one thing I figured out, or noticed here at least, is that the wiring on this one, compared to some of the things that I've seen online, this brown and black wire here, which goes down into this piece here on the side, it's kind of hard to see, but that goes into the coiling system. In other models that I'm seeing online, those two wires would be connected down here. Unfortunately, on this one, they're all wired into the same. Now this replacement has the same size adapter there to connect in, but it's missing those other two pieces. So I don't know for the Kenmore then if this is the right piece or if this is just wired goofy in here. So I don't want to cut anything here, and since I have nowhere else to put these two wires right now, I don't think I have many options here for replacing this entire piece out. So what I'm actually going to do here is I almost got this whole thing defrosted. I'm actually going to go ahead and defrost this whole thing and then put everything back together and see if maybe, you know, hopefully none of these are broken out. I did disconnect all my wires or my zip ties already, so I'm gonna have to zip ties those back, but at least I know where they're gonna be placed. And then I'll do that and just kind of see if that fixes my issue right now with that error code. But if I had the right kind of cabling up here, if this was wired correctly, I'd let that go. But I might be at a standstill here, at least with what I can do. So let's do that piece and then see what happens. I'm gonna let it run for a day or two and see if my error codes clear out and they don't come back. Then I know that it was definitely just a defrosting issue, as we can see. And I made this very long video, at least showing you at least what you can do if you have the right connection there. But since mine's not wired that way, I really can't. So I will be back and give an update. I'm back now after about 5 days, and you can see I have no error codes going here. So in my situation, what I did in this video actually worked for me, which was just defrosting the back. The one change that I did make, and I'll show you here in a second, is that I changed the heat on my freezer and my refrigerator. So this was at about 0. I raised that up to 8 for the freezer, and then I think I had my fridge around 37. I raised that up to 40. So I did increase the temperature in both because I figured if it is freezing at the other level, if I bring that up, that's good. So I did change the temperature, and that seems to be helping fix everything. But like I said in this video, the connections are wrong. So I was looking a little more into what it could be to make that error code as well. And if my heating coil down there is not working, which you saw in the video, you saw that those connections went into one connector. You'd actually have to buy the heating coil separate. I think I saw that online for about 50 bucks. And then there actually is a plug in the back of that freezer for you to put in the heating coil, and it looks pretty easy to replace. So you could actually pull out the heating coil, then you could pull out the thermostat and the other sensor that I bought, and you could actually make all of that connection work, even in this model, even though it's not wired right now. you could actually do those things. So any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. I'll answer my best on them. I want to thank you as always for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.